Ciao ragazzi, welcome back. Claudi Giganti here with GigaRacing. We're here to talk about our race 2. Sorry, wasn't feeling really well weekend long, so I couldn't do my videos for the practice and qualifying. I was actually also upset about the result of practice and qualifying. That was probably one of the other reasons why I didn't do much videos about it. Second race in Qatar. My compliments go to Fabio Quartararo. He actually did a fantastic race. It's not one of my favorite rider characterial way, but he rode a fantastic race. Well planned and managed the tires right. He picked his time to go forward, and then he actually really passed the Ducatis and opened up that gap, and then the Ducati couldn't close up that gap anymore, even with an extra, close to 20 kilometers an hour on the straightaway. The Ducatis were just like bullets. It was fantastic to watch them, how fast were they on the straightaway. So in Qatar 2, in compare Qatar 1, you can see the Ducatis made improvement on the fuel mapping, so they could open up more on the straightaway. Conditions were very similar, temperature-wise, wind-wise. So the track was very similar than the week before. There was not much difference. It's kind of strange because you assume that whoever did good last week would have done well this week as well. But the only riders that actually did that was Zarco. Zarco played his card really, really well in Qatar 1 and in Qatar 2. So my big compliment goes to Zarco as well as the second podium on the podium for number 2. And also, I gotta say, Jorge Martin, unbelievable, really, really good, young kid, second race on MotoGP, and he leads the race for 16 laps, from the beginning to lap 16, so that's fantastic for a rookie. He manages race really, really well. Ducatis, obviously, they have a bit of a problem with tire degradation near the end of the race. They can't really ride the same way that they ride at the beginning of the race. And so that's why my compliment went to Quartararo for holding on and picking his time to get through the other riders and to make it through the pack in order to win the race. So Jorge Martin, actually in an interview, he said, he didn't want to risk to try a pass in Zarco and compromise, his finish and his teammate finish, which is really a mature approach to a way to race. So going a little bit back through the practice and qualifying, Morbidelli and Rossi obviously had huge problems on getting grip on the rear hand. Also, Morbidelli had some problems with some smoke coming out of the engine. Yamaha says that the engines were filled with there was too much oil, and so the oil when it's too much, goes back into the airbox, and then if it gets burned and combusted, you get a white smoke out of it from the exhaust. So their explanation was that it was by mistake put too much oil in the engine. I have a hard time believing it, and it's the same reason that last year they said they put too much air on the tires. I mean, these mechanics are engineers more than mechanics. They're professional. They've been doing it for years. They don't make mistakes like this. So I don't know. I think it was a bit of a cover-up to don't really tell what happened. So that covers that. Valentino Rossi, I don't know, in Qatar 1, in his lap for the qualifying, he got a toe, so he managed to pull a good lap. But then in the race, he fell behind quite a bit. He finished, over 10 seconds behind. In Qatar 2, he finished about 14 seconds behind. So yes, it's a little bit longer, but you can clearly tell that he had serious issues. He can't get the Yamaha to work the way he wants it. And to me, the reason is because Yamaha has stopped following Valentino direction as far as the development of the bike. And so the bike is becoming harder and harder for him to ride, number one. And then the style of riding is changing through the years. So Valentino always adapts through the years to the new style of riding to be able to compete with all the other new riders. But now I think with his age, it's becoming harder for him to adjust and to make those changes. So I hope to see him back when we go back to Europe. The first race it will be Portimao in Portugal, which last year Valentino Rossi didn't do really good. He didn't really like the race track. So let's hope that he will do better. As far as Morbidelli goes, Morbidelli is being very diplomatic, but you can tell he is not satisfied. Ramon Forcada, he was really not upset, but you can tell there is tension. He's not happy with the bike. They requested to have the bike that they had last year, but you can tell the bike is not performing the same way than last year. So something is up over there. I can't tell what it is, but something with Yamaha is not 100%. I cannot believe that last year, the factory Yamaha were slower than the satellite team. And I think Yamaha this year is almost like ensuring that the satellite team is not as fast as the factory team is. I think that's what it is. But I could be wrong. It's just my personal opinion. Talking about the other teams, Suzuki, this race, but even Qatar 1, they didn't have the right balance. They couldn't stay with the Yamas and with the Ducati, so they kind of hold on in there. You can tell that Johan Mir was very frustrated, and when he was behind Miller, I mean, he pushed his brakes a little bit too much and pushed Miller a little bit out of the corner. But that was like more of a race incident. He apologized right away, lifted up his leg. But what happened right after was like Miller actually looked for Johan Mir and deliberately pushed him out of the way. He actually pushed him almost out of the track. And I mean, I was really disappointed that Race Direction didn't take any action against Miller. They said that they got warning, but I think that's too dangerous. I think, Miller, that was very deliberately what Miller did. I think Johan Mir kind of went in a little hotter, and then he had no choice. He pushed him a little bit out of the way, but he apologized right away. So you can tell it wasn't planned, but what Miller did, it was planned. And in MotoGP at this level, I don't think you should be able to get away with this kind of action. So I'm a little bit disappointed with Race Direction, but let's hope that they look at it a little bit better way. And if I was a Ducati team manager, I will not be happy at all with Miller behavior. Like between Qatar 1 and Qatar 2, yes, he was not doing great. He was very frustrated, and he didn't manage to handle the frustration and the difficulty in the best way. And so, yes, he was good during testing in Qatar as well. And yes, he has a lot of pressure because he's considered the number one rider in Ducati, but he's actually finishing the number 4 rider at the end of the race. So it's a little bit tough to accept. It's a little bit tough to get away. Aprilia, again, Alexis Pargo. We saw some more improvements. He made a statement that I was actually shocked by. He said that, Aprilia has me, we don't really need Dovizioso. And I was like, wow, if he consider himself being as good as, the rider that's been the number 2 a few times in the last few years against the best rider that we had for a while, which is Marc Marquez. I don't know. It's just it's a big statement to make. So that covers Aprilia. The KTM's, I saw them. I think they did better. Petrucci was up there. It was a little bit doing better, especially in practice, but even in qualifying, it was a little bit better. So we'll see, we'll see them for sure a lot stronger in Portimao in Portugal. So let's wrap it up for the day. Again, round of applause to Quartararo, perfect race. Also, compliment to Zarco again, and to Martin for a fantastic race. I can't wait for Portimao and see how the cards get, remixed, and see who's gonna be up on top again. Let's hope to see Morbidelli back up front again, and of course Valentino Rossi. Thank you again for watching Claudi Giganti with GigaRacing today, guys, and we'll see you at Portimao in free practice 1 and 2 for the next race. Grazie, arrivederci, ciao.